Welcome back to the ATST show, everyone. As always, I am your host, Aiden Davis, and I know it has been a while since I've posted an episode here to YouTube. The reason being, I just got done with my college internship that is a part of my curriculum for my university. It was a really great experience. I learned a lot. I made good memories from it, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity that I had for my internship. And moving on to some other stuff that's been going on in my life, I'm going to be a junior in college, which just really blows me away. Just because, because of world events, time, especially in school, has really just flown by. My sophomore year, basically in terms of the quote-unquote college experience, was really non-existent because of virtual learning and whatnot. So I'm going to be a junior in college, which is just crazy to me because it feels like I just graduated high school yesterday. But all of that is besides the point. Moving on to what we are here to discuss, that being Star Wars. What I really want to discuss today is episode 11 of the Bad Batch, titled Devil's Deal. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive on in. Now, just to preface this discussion, I will be diving into spoilers. So, if you have not seen the episode yet, I suggest that you pause the video, go watch the episode, and then come back to this video to not get spoiled. I'll give you to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, spoilers beyond this point in time. Episode 11 of the Bad Batch, entitled Devil's Deal, was a really special episode, not only for the series as a whole, but it was also very special to a Star Wars Rebels fan like myself and several others that are part of the Star Wars community. The reason being that the majority of this episode took place on the Twi'lek homeworld of Ryloth, and we got reintroduced to fan-beloved characters such as Cham Syndulla, Hera Syndulla, a character that was only referenced in Hera's mom and Cham's wife. I forget her name at the moment, but she seems like a very cool character. And of course, where you have Hera, you have her very problematic droid that was pulled from the burning flames of a Y-Wing. I, of course, am talking about Chopper, and Chopper is his grumpy old self in this episode, and it was really great to see him. So like I said previously, this episode was special for a lot of different reasons. One of the big reasons, and one reason that might kind of confuse people that are here for the Bad Batch, because the show is entitled The Bad Batch. What made this episode especially good was the fact that it didn't need to rely on the Bad Batch in order to have good storytelling, good character development, a good plot line, or even good action sequences. I would say that out of the entirety of the episode, the Bad Batch only show up for about a minute and a half to 2 minutes, and there's this really cool scene between Omega and Hera, further adding to Hera's character, how she has always wanted to be a pilot, and there's this really cool exchange between Hera and Omega, and Hera explains to Omega that piloting a ship is much more than knowing the specifications. It's all about a feeling, and this theme is carried throughout the entire episode, and also the majority of Hera's character development in Star Wars Rebels, which it was a really cool callback to see in this episode. Another interesting aspect of the episode is the mindset that Cham Syndulla has at this period in time. He's just got done fighting the Clone Wars. As we saw in the Season 2 Ryloth arc, he freed his planet from the Separatist Alliance and Wat Tambor and whatnot. and he desperately wants the planet to embrace peace because all the Twi'leks have known over the past couple of years is war. And there's this really cool exchange between Cham and Hera where, Hera's eager to fight. Of course, we all know she has a very fiery spirit, and that is further carried on during her character development in Star Wars Rebels, which is another cool through line to see. But Cham basically has a line, and I might be slightly paraphrasing, so please forgive me. He's basically like, I don't want you to live the life that I've had to live in terms of fighting war. And it's funny to think about because eventually that comes to pass. Hera's life becomes consumed by fighting for the rebellion and fighting against the tyranny of the Empire. So in the end, unfortunately, Cham's wish of her having a better life than his doesn't come true. And like I was talking about previously with Cham's mindset, I think by the next episode, because there's definitely a shift at the end of episode 11 where he's now willing to fight because his family became endangered by the Empire. I think by the end of the next episode, episode 12, he's going to shift to be more like how he was in Rebels when we meet up with him in that series. Because I do think, unfortunately, his wife and Hera's mom is not going to live to see the end of this arc once it's finished. We know I want to say season 3 of Rebels. Of course, this is when Hera's mom is referenced, and we know that she has died. And from my understanding, it's been a while since I've read the novel Lords of the Sith, but she does not appear in that novel. So in terms of storytelling, it makes sense that the death of her would really cause Cham to fall back into his old ways of freedom fighting. Oddly enough, Cham Syndulla is basically is the opposite side of a coin that's shared by Saw Gerrera, because as we all know, Saw lost Steela in the Onderon arc in Clone Wars, and we saw how much that changed him. That's even shown in Star Wars Rebels. He was really affected by that, and he kind of just goes crazy and gets very, very much radicalized in his ways, fighting against the Empire. And in Rebels, Cham has that dedication, that kind of radicalization where he does whatever is necessary to fight against the Empire. So it's interesting to see that kind of parallel in how it's interesting to think about that Cham and Saw are just two sides of the same coin, but maybe further aligning due to loss of family, which, like I said previously, I think is going to happen by the end of this arc in the Bad Batch, which is something really cool to think about. Oh, well, not cool to think about. It's very sad. I should correct my saying. I should say it's interesting to think about. It's not cool that Hera is going to lose her mom and Cham is going to lose his wife. That's not cool. Anyway, to get off that tangent, I also want to discuss the character of Captainhauser or Captain Ballast. You can call him whatever. I'm just going to call him Captainhauser because that is how he is credited in the episode. Hauser, out of all the regular clones we've seen in the series thus far, he has had the most personality. There's a sequence where Hera and Chopper get caught basically looking at this Imperial refinery, and Hauser basically tells Cham, hey, it's kind of a tense situation right now. I won't report this to my higher-ups, but you have to make sure it doesn't happen again. And the reason being, without taking the inhibitor chips into consideration, the reason why Hauser would break protocol is because he and the clones that have been on Ryloth have formed very close bonds with the Twi'leks, basically helping them defend their planet and protect their planet. At the beginning of the episode, even Cham brings this up in a speech, basically saying the Twi'leks should be comfortable being protected by the clones because they've always had their best interests at mind, and they've earned the Twi'leks' respect, which is something interesting to think about. And based off of what we've seen in the final arc of Clone Wars in Season 7 and the first couple episodes of The Bad Batch, we know that the inhibitor chips are activated as soon as a clone hears Palpatine say, "Execute Order 66." Now, my reasoning, or at least my theory behind why Hauser has so much personality, is because a Jedi wasn't present on Ryloth during Order 66. To me, that makes the most sense because the order wouldn't be passed down, and if the order was passed down, Hauser wouldn't have as much personality as he does. But, we have to expect as well, even though he might have not gotten the order, he's still going to listen to his new higher-ups, which in this case, it's Admiral Rampart. He still accepts the chain of command. Now it's shifted from the Republic to the Empire. It's kind of interesting to think about because in the first episode, Crosshair, who is under the influence of the inhibitor chip, says Republic, Empire, it doesn't really matter who we fight for. And Hauser might have kind of a similar mindset to that, where he's still comfortable with following the chain of command despite the shift in the government he serves. But he's definitely different than the other Regs we have seen in the series thus far. And I think by the time of the next episode, because I think it's going to be a direct continuation, I think he's going to either help out the Bad Batch or he's going to help rescue Hera separately from the Bad Batch, because he seems like a good dude who sticks to his guns. He seems very loyal and very honorable. Even in the episode, he tries to talk down Cham, because Cham is tempted to kill Orn Free Taa, because of course he was going to have Gobi and Hera tried for treason without a trial. And he's like, "Cham, think about what you're doing before you do it." And in the end, Hauser is still going with what is happening. The only time he kind of goes against what's being ordered is when Rampart tells him to arrest Hera, Gobi, and the other Twi'lek freedom fighter that was with them on the supply run. He's like, "Sir, she's just a child," which definitely is not a behavior you would expect from a clone trooper under the power of an inhibitor chip, which is interesting to think about. So, basically, to summarize everything I've just said, Hauser seems like an interesting character, and I'm very much excited to see the continuation of his story in the next episode. Overall, I would give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. It is one of my favorite episodes out of the entire series thus far. And that's all I have to say about episode 11 of The Bad Batch, Devil's Deal. Let me know down in the comments below what you all think. What was your favorite part of the episode? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Where do you think things will go for the remainder of the season of Bad Batch? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, I have been your host, Aiden Davis. This has been the ATST Show, and I will see you all on the next one. Thank you very much for for watching.